thing where it says live in 10 minutes, but it really be live now.
Yeah.
So I gotta put my nose.
It might be live right this second.
I know it's live. It's live.
It's not live yet. It's not live yet.
It's not live yet. It's live. She be lying to us, y'all. Go ahead, start it.
Now we live.
We live? Oh, shit! We are live and I'm not too close to the mic, so I'm trying
You gotta put that on a t-shirt, yo.
With the old shit?
Yeah, yeah. Because you found your bag, yo.
Is it ready yet? I know that shit had to tweak a little bit. Nah, I think you got it. I think
found the bag, yo.
You trademark?
Oh, no,
maybe the fiction.
Who else has said, "Oh shit, we live"? Nobody.
No,
It's never been
I've
said
heard the
before.
We Lives. I've heard. I don't know if I heard "Oh shit."
Nobody says it.
I don't think anybody said,
Oh
shit. Nobody said that. So you can trademark it if you want.
You know what would be hard too? I was thinking about one day doing some like mixed martial arts competitions.
Yeah.
And like being a dude like.
Oh, you want to be that? You want to be that?
Guy. And I'd be like, oh shit, we live. Motherfuckers are cool. Let's fight. Anyway, that's one of my own.
Everybody drinking scotch a little bit.
Yeah, I'm with it. And I'm going to get that proper 12s in New York City now. So I'm having some proper 12 from Conor McGregor whiskey.
Oh, for real?
That'll be dope. Yeah, maybe I'm fighting that weekend. We are live on Not Safe It Is. We have my man Kelvin Johnson's. Give him a hand clap, man. And this is he's representing his company, Fortune
for the culture
game. Why? I thought I saw Fortune somewhere. Am I bugging?
Yeah.
Because you're trying to make a fortune.
I thought it was never Fortune.
It's because the game is about making a fortune.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, I'm already rich, so this game means nothing to me. As you can see, I put up in a Maybach if y'all ain't.
You rich in
I'm not even rich. Rich is poor. I'm wealthy, nigga. Wealthy? I'm broke shit. Anyway, we got my man Kelvin on. He's doing big things. He is going to explain what he's doing and what he's doing most importantly for the culture. That culture being our culture. So this is not for white people, you saying, right?
It's for everybody.
But not for white people.
White people, not the culture, right?
No, I mean, the game is something. That's just like hip-hop. Like rap music in general or hip-hop. The general consensus is that we talking about our life stories, what we go through, stuff that we experience. But if you look at the fan base, the customer base, or whoever that's really like consuming a lot of the music, it's not just black people.
Oh, it's really,
it's
the majority is.
Yeah, so like for the culture, that is definitely the culture I'm referring to is, black culture, hip hop culture. But that's what the theme and the content of the game is. That's not like necessarily who's going to be playing. Anybody that's like the business ed, for example, that term is interchangeable with entrepreneurship.
I like that too.
Whoever owns a business, you're a business ed.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Are there levels to being a business ed?
If you come from nothing and you made something out of nothing, this is the game for you.
Okay.
Like, that's the people that I feel like would take more to this type of game. But you might not have that experience, but you might want to play it.
You brought the game with you, right?
Yeah, I brought the game.
Let's look at the board.
Right.
You said what?
Grab the board.
So when was this game conceptualized? And when did you like? Damn, yo, I see a hole in the market. No one's actually touching this, or this type of board game is also educating folks on how to become a business ed. We want to coin that phrase. When was that? Was that years ago?
Was that years ago? Like we got time, so I'm gonna get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it was a product in a game before it was a business.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the spot playing.
That's a board.
That's
a real board.
That's a board, yo.
Right.
Yeah, like go ahead and hold that side real quick so the people can see it.
That's a board, yo.
Yeah.
Right.
Business
it's basically the backdrop is Baltimore City for the first game.
Business dope. Nice.
So you got the northern part of the city. Where my left hand is at, that's the eastern part. Southern, just like you're going around in the compass for real. West, northwest.
So I know we've asked 100 questions already. You haven't even dove into any of them, but what you're doing, it begs 100 questions,
Right.
What's the goal of the game?
The goal of the game is to teach entrepreneurship, business ownership, to make it more accessible to people that may have grew up without being aware of different ways that you can make money.
Mm-hmm.
Because like most of the times you hear people that's, let's say, from the community that I'm from, like a lot of times you might hear people that say, oh, I'm a product of my environment, or I've seen people become successful by being in the streets, or being, playing sports, or music or something along those lines. That's no knock on certain things that you do for whatever reason you do it for, but that's no longer an excuse.
Right.
Because in today's world, we got the tools, we got all the things set up to be entrepreneurs. Like if you really want to do that.
Are you saying
this game itself is promoting that, is bringing awareness to all these different types of businesses you can get into. It's bringing awareness to the idea of having brick and mortar businesses, the importance of location. Like right here, this is a card I just picked up. Accessories, jewelry, cosmetic, hair and beauty. These cards, you go to a supplier and you cop up. You actually go about getting a supply from the supplier, and then you go to the community and you sell. You roll what's called a supplier die, and you get different outcomes from that. No profit, damaged products, 10K, triple, double, or rob, because that's a realistic thing that can happen.
To get robbed.
Yeah, if you're in certain communities and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it is a game, so we had to add like a feature to it.
Yeah. You got to be able to lose.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a business period.
Yeah, that's a business, and you got to understand that when you coming from that business aspect, and you do get robbed or property damage, or you just don't make no profit, you got to find a way to bounce back from that.
This would have been a good day to have Goldie on.
Huh?
To have Goldie, like,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah, like that. I mean, but that goes with the whole process of it. I mean, for plenty of the entrepreneurs that we've had on about how they, literally either had to fall and come back, or they just came from totally nothing. You know what I mean? And to be able to provide that game, I think that's a good highlight for people who want to be able to take those other ventures versus, like you said, doing music, whatever the case is, athletics and stuff like that. So I think that for you to be able to highlight other stuff that you can get into, really, that's really a good thing for the community. They need to know that.
Right.
Before you made this game, what was
what was that?
What were you doing? What made you want to make this game to begin with?
So, like I was saying, the game, when the first variation of the game was conceived, the idea for it was conceived like way back in like 2005. Yeah, I was home. I was going to school in Philly. I was home. I was in town, and basically I was at a friend's spot, and we was playing Madden, and we was betting money on Madden. Then we took Madden out. We started playing Grand Theft Auto, and basically I was looking at that game, and I kind of stepped back from that, and I was letting everybody else play, and I was like, man, that'd be crazy if they took, some people like the game for the video game aspect, where you got the rockets and the helicopters and people coming out after you stopping cars, all the stuff that made it a
Grand
video
Theft Auto.
game. Right, we all familiar with that, but I was like, what if you take some of that stuff out, made it more realistic, made it a simulation, and in a sense, made it street. The original title to the game was Street Business. So, I mean, that's where the young 20, early 20, late 10-year-old mind was at. I was like, that's where my mindset was at. It was like, okay, what if we made a game that was like almost a simulation of the streets, but it took away some of the over-the-top video game aspects. So I didn't make video games, so the next thought was like, I'm gonna make a good board game out of it. I never had no experience in doing that, but I just went ahead and just gave it a shot. And over the years, the game has been revamped because I didn't want to put something out there that just had that same vibe, like the youth coming up playing it, they not getting nothing out of it that can actually play out in their real life. To say there was so many different types of businesses right here in Baltimore, like. If you look at the hair industry, the salon industry, barbers, you look at the restaurant, like Baltimore has a high number of like black-owned businesses as far as like restaurants and stuff like that. And it's like people became in tune with that by wanting to do that, and not necessarily through school or anybody like telling them like, hey, this is how you run a business. Like we don't get that kind of education in the school system for real.
Right.
So it's like that played a role in why I changed the game and added all these different types of brick and mortar businesses and legal hustles to the game that had more of a positive impact for real.
All right, let's get into you, not necessarily the game for a second, because have you guys ever thought about making a board game?
No.
Never, right? I never thought about making a board game, but you did.
Right.
So like I'm willing to go on a whim that anybody that's listening is probably thinking like, you know, how do you make a board game? If you make a board game and you built into this game taking losses, getting robbed, what's the stuff that you wouldn't expect when you trying to make a board game? Like what happened in the process that you like, shit,
Yeah.
I'm glad I got over that. Or if you made it again, I won't do that shit again.
So the game, it has an aspect of craps in it. So y'all all play craps, right? We're familiar with it, right?
Cool.
So I took that concept of rolling your number back 7, 11, or whatever your point is, and that I made that correlate to a spot on a board. So that's a mechanic to the game. So it was like, that's something that we all do, or a lot of us do.
Mm-hmm.
Why not have that same mechanism, that same mechanic in an actual game where you actually starting to get some substance from it? Like, if you look at the game, it's different zones. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way around the board. So when you open a business, you open in a business in a certain zone. Like if you open a car wash, once you open that business in that car wash, and that pertains to a number, you roll that number back, that's your number for the rest of the game. So every time you roll that, if you open in the downtown district, that's the 7. That's the high probability area. You roll a 7, and then you get your money from that roll. So all those kind of mechanics was in the game. So I was looking at stuff that I liked, and I just put it and applied it to real life business.
Yeah, but what did you do that you messed up on? That you was like, what the fuck was I thinking?
What was the startup cost?
Yeah.
Was that more than you thought it was?
I want to hear about because people, like you said, not many people are going to come out with board games. You don't know. You've never heard of anybody really.
I kind of surprised myself for real, because I wasn't really a big board game player coming up. I was more of a gamer as far as like video games.
Right. Yeah, but you didn't have a blueprint when you were making it.
I didn't have
so
a blueprint.
If you had to write the blueprint, what are you telling somebody not to do that you did?
Not to do?
Yeah. Like if I want to make a game, now I know you had to have done something that like, you're like, shit, why did I do that? Or why did I put this in there? Or
I mean, I like the steps. I would say don't allow. I mean, because when I made the game, it wasn't social media. It wasn't as popular as it is now. So it was like, if you wanted to get your game published, you had to go to a convention. You had to go to one of these conventions that they do yearly, and you had to like really know somebody in the business. And like, it was harder to publish your game, get your game published. So I would say,
I didn't even know you had to get a game published twice.
I mean, you don't. Like this game, I'm doing it independently. That's what I'm saying. Like that's something that I didn't have the fortunes of when I first made it. I was thinking like, oh man, I gotta go about getting it patented, because I had a few people play it and they liked it. So it was like, my next thought was like, I gotta protect it.
You gotta go to Hasbro or something.
I gotta protect it as far as like not allowing somebody to just come in and make the same game and put it out there that had, the resources to do so. So I spent a lot of time spending money on a patent attorney to get the game patent pending and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I would say that took a lot of finances and money out of it, and it kind of like deflated me in a sense as far as like, damn, I put all this money into it and, it's still nothing, it's not out there, that type of thing. So if somebody was like saying today what they want to do, it's a lot of different avenues they can take, where they can take their game to a Break My Games event and have it play tested. Like that's an actual company in Maryland, where you have new developers come to this place and they play that game amongst other enthusiasts and casual gamers, and you get a feel for like.
Did you have that done?
Not in the beginning. I just had recently started to do that in the past 2 years. That's what I'm saying. It was, I got a lot of good feedback. Like the game we have today is not the same game from 2005. Like I said, I condensed the street stuff and I made it more positive. And on top of that, I made it a more fast-paced game based on the feedback I was getting from the different people that was playing it.
That makes sense. So you made it more palatable for everybody, not just street.
It's yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Nick, what's up? You quiet, man.
Well, you guys asking good questions. You don't want to talk over each other, so great job, everybody. But so it looks like the demographic you are trying to push it towards, like I guess 20s and not a little younger, and then older, like what 15?
I would say high school and up.
Okay. Right. Have you tried to reach out to any of the schools to say, hey, can we maybe add this to the curriculum, the school curriculum?
That's a good question.
Because it seems like what you're doing, like it's just not a monopoly in the sense of a monopoly game, not to bring them up in this conversation, but just to have fun.
Pretty sure he's heard that.
Well, that's the type of avenue he's trying to do, but you're aiming towards maybe a certain socioeconomic class, and you're giving them the tools to get themselves out of such a situation. So I was just thinking, like, man, why not go straight to that, that demographic you're trying to reach and say, hey, and then make it even more legit of, hey, let me talk to some of these after school programs when they're trying to not only keep your kids out of the bullshit, but also feed them something. Yeah. So I didn't know if you had anything like that planned, or if
that's actually something that's in the pipeline. I've spoken to several schools in the area, several colleges, HBCUs, more than
that's dope. And how they receiving that so far?
Well, we got some things coming up as far as like bringing it out to like that entrepreneurial program, entrepreneurship program. Mm-hmm. And one of the things is like the actual street risk cards, because the content in some of these cards can be kind of risque in a sense. I don't feel like it's necessarily meant for like small children. Right? So like 8, 9, 10-year-old kid might not want to hear, or a parent of an 8, 9, 10 might not want to hear about certain things that you do as a street risk. But we know that to be a reality. You're not eating. Sometimes you
robbing.
I'm not gonna say robbing. No, you're not robbing in the game. You can get robbed, but you're not really robbing.
But you can't rob?
Read this card.
All right, let me read.
That's an example.
You decide to utilize your card. Do I read that part too? Or just this one? This
is the scenario. You decide to utilize your card counting ability in a game of blackjack at the casino.
You able to make some strategic bets and win some money. Collect 5,000.
So that's light.
That's light, but you're right. Light. Your parents may not want a kid's parents may not want them like, oh yeah, gambling make 5,000. I can see that.
Right.
Counting cards.
Counting cards. Right. But the realistic thing behind it is that you can go to jail. So like it's better to learn that lesson through a game than to experience it in real life. And have fun with it in the game. And there's so much other stuff going on. Like this business list right here is a list of 40 different businesses. And essentially, we've gotten away from the importance of like going into a business of brick and mortar, because a lot of people doing online boutiques and online stores. And that's cool. E-commerce is big. Like I'm in e-commerce, so it's like I'm not knocking it. But at the same time, as far as like community development and actually putting our dollars back into the community, circulating it, like I feel like we have to like get back to having our own businesses in our own communities in a sense.
Did you build e-commerce into the game?
Yes, that is in the game. Cool. Yeah, it's definitely in the game. That's when you take a business venture card, these work like chance cards in a sense. So if you land on the spot, you can take a street risk or a business venture, or you can go to a supplier, different money making mechanisms or whatever. So you can read this one out. I just picked it up.
You decided to rent out a community center in order to put on a comedy show with some local talent and established comedian. After careful planning and promotion, the show sold out. People in attendance thoroughly enjoyed themselves and are looking forward to another event. Collect 15,000.
So that's a big one, 15,000.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad.
So it's 30 cards. It's 30 cards. If you break it down, like it's a lot of strategy built in the game. So if you break it down from the strategic standpoint, like it's 10 cards that's going to be straight, direct, positive outcomes. Then it's going to be 10 cards that's going to be direct, hard, negative outcomes.
Let's see a negative outcome.
That joint look like it's saying right there on the top.
Here, let Mom read that one. I'm going to read the negative.
Fuck you. He want the negative.
I don't really want that shit.
I don't want to read the negative.
All right, so one of your friends with great baking skills decides to start their own business. They contact you for an investment and you agree. Sales are slow and the business is unable to turn a profit due to poor customer service. Lose $2,000. If you don't have the amount, you must liquidate a business and pay the amount. If no business, lose a turn.
It's pretty real. It's pretty real.
Niggas like, shit. You get one of them cars, you're like, fuck.
Right.
What about startup costs? You talked about that in the beginning of your journey with the legal fees, right?
Right.
When you're entering the game, I'm assuming everyone's entering with zero capital and or liquid funds, or do they start with a certain amount of money, which is associated with startup costs?
I'm glad you asked that question, because when I first had a demo, you started off with no money. So you had to go about
which is realistic for a lot
It's
of people.
realistic, exactly.
That's
That
really
was the whole
real. Yeah.
point. But
People
I
always
noticed,
have dreams, and it's like, man, I ain't got no fucking. I'm living check to check.
right, exactly. But I noticed as far as gameplay was concerned, like a lot of people, it took them a while to get the
Slow
money.
the game down.
Slow the game up. So it's like, all right, so I went from starting with no money to starting with 5,000. Then I was like, all right, I want the prices to some owning of some of the businesses or paying rent on some of the actual the stores or whatever to actually emulate real life numbers.
Yeah.
So 5,000 is still, you can do a lot
That's
with
a lot.
5,000. It's tangible. So it's different little businesses around the board. That's like this quick hitter, small businesses. Like if we had a game where we was playing, you'll see, and it'll make sense of what I'm saying. But as far as like to actually win the game, you gotta have. You can look on here and see like the lowest business is 15,000. That's a convenience store. So because of that, having people playing it was like taking them a long time
to get 15,000.
Get that kind of money. So everybody starts with 10,000.
That's good.
Yeah.
What's the goal of the game? How do you win?
So you win by getting a certain point total. So you decide in the beginning of the game, all right, I want to go to 100 points. That's like an hour-long game if you got 4 people. If you want to play longer than that, like we just recently had a Halloween thing game night where we played for like 3 hours. Well, it was 6 people. That was the first time the game got played with 6 people. But some people was like a little out of it. So that was like, as far as like,
drunk.
they was drunk.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, not engaged out of it like stuff.
Yeah, so that kind of slowed it down too. But at the same time,
Which is also, if you take it on the business aspect, it's like you have to be about your business.
right.
If you out here taking part in any vice and not giving 100%, it's going to be a little slower.
Right.
You know, it's not going to just come together like that.
So in this game, for me to win, does Marvin have to lose?
I guess
It's
that's
one-
business, though.
It's one.
Is it?
It's one winner, but you can play it like spades. You can play a group of me and you versus Marvin
Ooh.
and Nick. So it's like that's like the actual way that you win a game is like you gotta set a point total. Every time you open a business, you get points. It's a point total associated.
So it's
with
just about getting the same. It's about just getting those points. That's pretty much what it is. So it's not necessarily that somebody loses. It's the fact that we just got more points than you, faster than you.
Right. So if we play an elimination, 4 people, you might play to let's say 100 points. You open up 2 50-point businesses, a juice bar and a smoothie shop, and a wine and spirit shop. So you just won a game based on how you made your money and then opening up those businesses.
Yeah.
So you won the game in that type of format.
Right.
But it's still 3 other people playing. So we might play elimination too. That person is the only person left. So it's like the next 2 people, almost like Uno or something like that.
Something like that.
It's like you're playing to the last person is in the
Reaches that
game.
number.
Yeah, and you can lose the game by losing money. I mean, that's obviously something that we go through, and just because you lost money don't necessarily mean
I like that. That's a good answer. That's kind of where I was trying to go with that question.
Yeah, okay.
But also, you made this game, right?
Yeah.
You feel obligated to win every time you play?
I try not to play it too much. Like I played it a lot in the beginning.
If we all played
I
each
take
other
myself out of
competitively.
it because I want to see how it flows without me. Because I know the strat. I know how to.
You know the strategy, baby.
Yeah, it's right. I've actually lost a game to some. I've lost
One
one
time.
time. Yeah, I played it maybe like 100 times, but I've lost once.
To who?
The owner of the shout out the African Diaspora Organization Alliance. I'm sorry, Jasmine. She's a partner in the game, so that's another thing that I left out is the businesses in the game is almost like product placement for real life businesses. So she's a partner, so you can open up her business, which is a learning organization that teaches about the African diaspora.
Damn. Okay.
So I played against her. She actually beat me. So
So she's got better strategy in your game than you do.
I mean, partner. I look at
So
it like
it is luck,
beginner's
too,
luck.
with the
Beginner's
proposal.
It's
luck.
luck. It's luck.
That's
Alright, okay.
what I'm gonna chalk it up to. Yeah.
Real slick, you gotta win, but look,
But I mean, I'm saying
It won't happen 2 out of 3.
I mean, 99-1 ain't too bad, right?
No, it ain't bad. It ain't bad.
But I mean, I don't necessarily like when I play it. It's red now because it's like I'll introduce the game so I can see how other people are enjoying it.
Yeah.
That type of thing for real.
You got any strip clubs in there? Second point.
You might have to club in
the
it.
losses you can take. and I think one of the examples were
Gentlemen's Club was a consideration for the $100,000 point business. I thought that it got replaced by nightclub lounge. So it's still a lounge in there, but not necessarily. But that's the thing. Like this is still early in the process. Like it's going to like
generate
more
pick up and
variations. I'm just focused on this first prototype. Yeah.
Have you thought? And I don't know any of the startup costs associated with it, but maybe an app. So board games, I'm not going to say that they've found their way outside of like common American experience. Part of that, right? It's still a big thing. Card games, board games. Right. We also know the market entails a big space for mobile apps. Have you thought of maybe a rudimentary mobile app?
Because I can see I can be playing
the train right now.
That's definitely in the pipeline. So
the
thought process was to first brand it and just get the feedback from the people to see how they receive the game as is. Because believe it or not, tabletop games are actually on the rise. Like because of the shelf life, because of the idea that everybody don't want to always have to go out and buy a new title for a game. Like I play 2K. Sometimes I feel like, yo, this is just a roster.
Same game, yeah.
I'm gonna play it though because I'm a fan of it. I'm gonna play it. But at the same time, it's like, can you play that with 5 people in one room and everybody interacting with one another? It brings a whole nother experience.
People want to be around each other. Like in the day and age now we in, it's like.
Yeah,
we have a conversation every Sunday, right?
Yeah.
How often people do this with each other that much? Like people don't even have conversations.
Yeah, I mean, you can sit at the dinner table with 3 of your family members and nobody talk for 15 minutes.
Right. So it's like you bringing back something that not even bringing it back, but you keeping it going. Something that is an art that people are losing. But like you say, when you go far away from it, the pendulum swings back.
Right.
That's what I think.
I definitely think so.
Yeah. So
that's why them other 2 people got lit at the game because they was drinking the shit. Everybody was having a good time.
Right. But the mobile app is definitely I wouldn't say in the works presently right now. Like I'm working on it. Like I actually consider that option. But again, it's something that I feel like I want to get the game out. And this, I want people to recognize it as a board game first.
Do you see yourself as the next Hasbro? Is this a one-time venture and you're just trying to... Are you a businessman, a business heir, and you have other opportunities to look into? Or are you trying to be the next Hasbro? Are you looking for the junior person?
I'm trying to be the first me for real.
All right. That's the go-to club. I was going to say that. I just threw the alley to you. Are you trying to stay within a board game realm? Or you
I got other games. I got other games that's in the development
real
process.
estate, maybe something even outside of...
Like a party game, too.
Well, not even a game. I didn't know if
he
it was
could
just...
be the game guy.
2 games. 2
card
games.
You don't mind to do it if I like this?
Oh, go ahead, do your thing. Feels good too. So I got like 2 other card games that I'm going to put out after this.
Okay. You know black people love cards.
Right.
Make sure that shit lit.
Right. So that's going to still have a theme of the culture, like things that I'm not going to give it like too much light because it's still in the development process.
Right, of course. You know
what I'm saying? But it's definitely some more games in the works.
How about like a party game? You know, like people get together, they want to like have a party game where it's like upbeat, lively. You know what I mean? Like charades type thing. Like you know what I mean? You got one of them?
Yeah.
You working something out. So what he's saying, he almost itching to say something. He don't want to say it.
How close are you with that? Because like I would like to.
The concept
be
is
a part
done.
of like
the concept is done. It's the prototype hasn't been completed, but like the whole.
Is it playable right now?
It's not playable.
Not playable.
Right. But the concept and the actual ingredients to it, like the content, a lot of that has been, I would say, about 70% completed. But
good deal.
We gotta get business out there first.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Yo, you whispering and going like this.
They can see me on dog.
You have a lighter? You have a lighter?
It's right there. It's right there on the counter. About to make a boom. My bad.
Yo, Nick.
All right, so Kelvin, before we go into the second half of the interview, and you told me we could talk about.
Let's not call this an interview, yo.
The interview, the conversation.
Conversation, yo.
We have a conversation. All right,
yeah.
Conversation.
Interviews is weird, yo. I don't like interviews.
First of all, we need your references right now. We need your resume right now.
I don't do too many of them though.
Yeah, but do you like them though? When the ones you've done, did you like them?
I feel like the ones that I excelled in is when I just came in and it was myself.
Just had a conversation,
no pressure.
Right?
Yeah,
that's what it's supposed to be.
The best job that I actually worked, I didn't even talk about the job. I was talking about sports. Like the
See
guy
what I'm
was a
saying?
big sports.
That's why we
fan,
gotta
so-
get Nick to stop saying we interview.
Yeah.
All right, so before we jump into the second part of the interview, and this conversation amongst friends, number one, this is fucking dope. I don't know, and we'll post more photos of the craftsmanship with this, but he's not just picking up some old cards he had in the kitchen, like, and put some paper on it and wrote $1,000. He's actually invested money. So
That's true.
I like the product.
And it looks good. If you can't tell from the fucking camera, like the shit's.
This is a legit game. It's a legit game, and the purpose of the game isn't just, I guess, for like for revenue for you, another form of revenue, but you're actually trying to give back and empower the younger folks to, like you said, bring it back to our culture and our neighborhoods and really make a difference.
Become more business is. So, I mean, if you look at what's going on just right here in downtown, it's like so many people are jumping in. I'm not gonna say so many people, but it's like it's a huge problem with violence in the city.
And how much money we wasted?
Yeah.
You talking about 15
That's a
stats?
business. That's a
Niggas,
business in
that,
itself.
that's a bit.
Right.
And who business are you empowering?
Exactly.
Louis,
Strippers.
Gucci, strippers, and no knock to them, but maybe the stripper can say, okay, if you, whoever guys aren't smart enough to use it the right way, we'll take your money through this game and invest in ourselves and bring it back. Maybe it's the women that's going to take over.
You want strippers to not buy Louis and shit?
I think that it's advantageous for us.
I think a lot of people
discontinue our investment in these companies that are investing in us. But sometimes, and a lot of times, we just don't have the blueprint. We don't have that generation. A lot of times, it's generational wealth.
What companies are investing in us? What companies are investing in us that we should be investing in?
Liquor stores love us. Salons love us.
And
it's time for. Listen,
that's why
he's saying we can do this. If we're the number one buyers of these products, and maybe we lack them, why can't we be the owners? And then they say, well, the first thing you're going to hear, if you with your cousin, you chilling, y'all lighting up, playing Madden, man, I don't know what the fuck, man, I don't even know how to start. You get frustrated because you really don't know. Now you know. Or now you can learn a little more. He might not have every detail, but office you go to. It's like, okay, it's the monster is revealed. It's like, okay, you can take this beast down. Oh, you can start with this amount of money. And you can do it this way. It's not like, oh, man, all I got is this avenue and this choice. And to be honest with you, a lot of these power players, when it comes to the Kennedys or it comes to the Rothschilds, maybe not the Rothschilds, but definitely Kennedys, they took dirty money, and then they cleaned it. Right. I think prohibition and alcohol and how they turned it, and they cleaned it. So a lot of these families right here and impoverished areas where they maybe right now are stuck in a game they don't want to play, they have an option through a game that they can play to jump into a new game altogether. So I think it's a dope idea, and we love it.
Should we be investing in like weed right now?
Weed?
Yeah, you just said prohibition. That's when alcohol was not legal, then became legal, right?
I think so, but this is how they cornered the market and kept certain people. They made the barrier to entry that much more difficult. That if you have any kind of federal case against you for the same shit now that they're doing legally or semi-legally, Canada right now is 100% legal. You can't even enter into the market.
What about you?
Would I do it? Well, see, in my case, it's startup costs. At this very moment, it's startup costs. That's why I was asking, like, well, damn, for someone like myself who's like, man, this is a cool idea, or I maybe want to jump into the lowest end of the thing, 15,000. Well, I'm living check to Chisnek. I'm not even leaving check to check. I'm living a check with somebody else's check helping my check to get to the next check, to being late for that bill, to paying interest on it. But at the same time, I have enough intellectual ability to say, okay, I can understand this, and then when I get my next spin of money, or if I have a couple friends like you guys here who says, listen, what do we got told? What do we have to come together as far as capital to raise, and then invest into it? Now it's not just like I don't even know where to start. Now with help of games like this, I can possibly start it and not make that dumb investment in some Gucci gear and shit that's not gonna.
Even like what it says, like on the card where it says you're investing in friend, but then the business is slow and all that kind of stuff, and you lose 2,000 of the deal. Like,
I'm waiting for him to invest in me. All right, this is
you heard.
He's rich. He's rich.
Behind it, it was talking about
the bad customer service.
Nigga, I'm broke.
Exactly. No, I know.
That's something that we sometimes forget to highlight. Like, you can't just look at it like, I got this business coming.
Right, and people do it all the time where it's based off of, you can go by the marketing of social media. You can go by actually going out there, shaking hands and meeting people, whatever the case is. But depending on your service or your product, it's ultimately about the kind of customer service and the product that you're providing. Because if you don't have none of that, then you don't have an actual business. Because you like you said, is the highlight of it is because he lost money because it was due to bad customer service.
In that one scenario though.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's one scenario.
Other scenarios through the game that you pick out, it's always going to be something that makes sense. Like it
makes you think about those kind of certain ideas that may actually come about in real life.
All right, how about
this?
What
I mean? Like where you might be like, yo, well, that's my boy. You feel me? Like, I like his product or I like his service, whatever the case is. So I'm gonna invest in him. But then come to find out in the background of it, yo, fucking his customers over type deal. You're like, yo, what the fuck kind of shit is that? Yo, you making me lose money now. So it makes you think.
Yo, Marvin really wants to play. He wants to play right now.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's a great idea. You know what I mean? Like Nick said, we might have a conversation. We might play this game. We might be like, hey, yo, I'll tell you what, yo, I know about this little spot around the corner. Yo, it's got a nice little.
He said the community service. That was one. That ain't 15,000 over the community service.
No.
You know what I mean?
Just to raise people.
You made 15,000.
The ticket sales from
right. And the cost probably wasn't.
So it's 30 different business ventures. So each one has a different lane, different industry.
Right.
And from that, the plan was the hope to, like basically what you just said, like, yo, I'm playing this game and all of a sudden I just got an idea to start this kind of business for me.
Yeah, true.
Let me tell you, Ruth, one more time. I know you itching.
I'm always itching.
You know, it's funny. I was going to say that might be a VD. You talked about how you reached out to Alliance and they're a partner and maybe this financially invested in it. Have you thought of not just East West, but like we reached out to the local, the Papa John's or maybe a local branch to say you could be a part of this game for this minimum amount of money, but
it's a little
to
different.
Make it even cooler. I don't know how that
going at franchises. You gotta like corporate entities like the whole.
But maybe like Lee's Salon.
I actually have. So that's what I've been doing. Like I've been reaching out to a lot of businesses prior to putting this out and putting it out on like however I'm going to put it out. I'm trying to decide if it's going to be Indiegogo or Kickstarter because I'm going to do crowd funding for the game, so I have a good idea of how much the sales are going to be before I go to the manufacturer. But yeah, I definitely reached out to a lot of different businesses.
Okay, just waiting on.
I mean, some of them was like, we don't have it in the budget. Some of them felt like, oh, I like your idea, I like what you're doing, but we don't see how that's going to really help what we're doing. But shout out to Cashland, Cashland John, because he was the first person that I reached out to that just basically said, yo, I'm with you. Not only am I going to support you, and I'm gonna have his business represented. Like he has a spot on the actual board. Like you can open up Cashland on the game. So like not only did he fuck with me on that level, but he was like, yo, when you throw your game night, I got a space for you. Like, cause I was throwing game nights, but it was like primarily at like libraries and stuff like that. I had like 4 or 5 people come out, just play the game, let me know how you feel about it. But the first official game night was the spring game night. I put it up there online, and I had a good 35 people come out. I had 2 business ed tables, and that was his space, and it was like we came up with that.
That was the recording, the video you sent me. That was from that.
Right, that was from that. That was John's building that he allowed me to use.
So we know you good at answering the questions, and you poised about talking about the business. Yeah, you pretty
great. No, it seems like you're knowledgeable. I mean, you better be if this is your damn board game. Right. Like, this is the dice for real. Just go ahead and have fun. I'm like, boy, you ain't prepared. Right.
You're gonna be that poised about the questions in the cup right there. That's what we want to know. Are you gonna answer honestly? You gotta answer honestly.
Look.
Bring it on.
Bring it on? Okay.
All right, so the name of the game, as you segue, Not Safe for Ears. Thank you so much for Kelvin Johnson coming on. Yeah, man. Coming on for the culture. Show them the hoodie, bro. Truly for the culture, though. Truly for the, and who made that? Who made it?
Cashland John. He made it.
That's dope.
That's just that,
man. Congratulations, man.
Yep.
Yo, I wish you much success, bro.
Appreciate it.
Much success in your board
I
game.
definitely
And I
appreciate what y'all doing too.
We try, man. We try just like you, and you know, great minds think alike, and we come together. Oh, real quick, shout out to our sponsor.
I wasn't gonna forget him.
Oh,
yeah, we not gonna forget.
Let's throw the alley who the name is.
With love.
With love. Dot.
BEA.
Who didn't Kelvin smell it?
Damn, that was actually kind of smooth, bro. That was actually kind of
That's
smooth. I like
coming
that.
over.
I
like that.
No, time. But look, make sure y'all check out our first sponsor. Man, this Renegade smile, I really like this one. Like that. Can you like that?
I sure can. I like it with black. Real good.
Yo, that joint real nice.
Don't like it with a black. You cannot like these candles with black.
Hand poured soy wax, fragrance in it. Make sure y'all check out.
African American small business owner, woman.
Yeah. Fuck small business owner, yo. Let me explain something.
Okay, you don't like that?
I like that. I do like that. You know what I'm saying? But
I don't think we gotta highlight.
I got a perspective myself, right? You guys, y'all say a lot. I listen a lot with this. Negative. I was in fucking Yankee Candle yesterday, right? For 2.5 hours. I didn't smell one candle that smelled better than this.
Ooh.
And I'm not fucking joking. I'm not fucking joking, yo.
Oh, that shit really do smell good though.
I've not smelled a candle. I smell every candle in Yankee Candle because I was with a bunch of fucking with Kristen's best friend. Her birthday was yesterday. That's my wife. Okay. So we was hanging out with them. She wanted to go to Yankee Candle, have her kids like dip their hands in the wax and do these different things and some activities. I left out for a few, got a pizza, I came back, but in the process of being there, I smelled every fucking candle they had there. None of that shit smelled this good. And I would have never thought that before because I don't really give two fucks about candles as much as, you know what I'm saying? Like in general terms. This is called lush, right? Yeah. I use it for we use candles for women. You know what I mean? Right. Mm-hmm. I didn't think about it that much, but when I was in there, I was like, yo, none of these candles smell like, they smell cool, but they smell real artificial, and they don't like. I'm just saying this, and this is coming from somebody who's like not trying to like. I'm not even trying to sell this shit.
Right.
I be burning these shits when we not here, and the room smells good now. Mm-hmm. You know how bad this room smelled like 3 months ago? Before we started doing this shit, like day in and day out, I come here, I'm like ironing my clothes. I'm like, yo, something I gotta fucking spray some air pressure. Yeah, it's just not that. It's not. We don't have a problem now, so. That's my real 2 cents, yo.
Yeah, make sure y'all check us out on Instagram and Not Safe for Ears. Make sure y'all get us the emails at notsafeforears@gmail.com, Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Let's work. So now, this is the part where we get into a little bit of fuckery. Sometimes it's all fuckery. Sometimes we got some serious shit in here, though.
All right.
So,
Kelvin, you gotta answer these questions real, man.
It is what it is.
You have to. Sometimes we have people come. Sometimes we have people come on.
Can't offend my
Exactly.
What you do? Be a politician. You know, put your thumb up like so. At the time we couldn't. You know, you figure about it.
You gonna Obama this shit?
Obama or Trump? Either way,
yeah. Trump this shit.
All right. So rank these games from best to worst. Hold up. Is that Cards Against Humanity?
Yeah.
Cards Against Humanity, Spades, Hide and Seek, Uno, or Twister. Whoa.
Okay.
All classics.
No, classics. You got Connect Four.
I thought about Connect Four, but I put Uno instead of Connect Four.
Spades and Uno at the top because I actually play them. So, like Cards Against Humanity, I know that's a good game, but I never.
You don't play that?
I never played it.
You used to play Hide and Seek though, right?
Yeah, I played Hide and Seek for sure.
You can't play.
Much of that.
You can't get girls naked with Uno.
Yo, Hide and Seek. All right, let me jump in right now. Hide and Seek is the most of the big. I'm gonna tell you why Hide and Seek. I don't know where y'all grew up at, or how old y'all are.
Hide and Freak.
Nigga, Hide and Freak. I play Hide and Freak. That's score play. Hide and Seek, right? And then I'm the first little dummy. Like, yo, what's up with Hide and Freak? Because then I was trying to get that one cute girl that ain't talking to me at all, and I'm gonna get in the corner. Yeah. That's a different story for a different day, but
that's how the Me Too movement.
It is. Like, you gotta play Hide and Seek. I can't be me now, man. Yeah, but we talking about.
Yeah, but we just talking about the span of games, not you right this second. Like you over the course of your life.
Over the course of my life. Oh, all right, I got you. So yeah, Hide and Seek would definitely be a little closer
easy
to the top.
rules. You hide and then you seek.
So one being the best. I still would go with Uno because that's
Uno's up there.
Uno's classic,
yeah.
You
Uno
play any
that
age.
Yeah.
Twister, man, I ain't playing no Twister. My back ain't like it used to be.
You wouldn't play Twister?
right now, man. Twister might leave me twisted. I gotta go to work Monday, baby. Like,
okay, all right. So Twister can go down the list.
all right.
We doing this together. This ain't just you. You don't have to make something.
Yeah.
Cards Against Humanity is good, but it's one of them games you play twice. You know, from experience, you play twice. Then you know all the cards. You know how you're gonna play them. You know what I mean? So maybe that's like 4 ahead of Twister. Spades, though. How do you put Uno above Spades, bro?
I mean,
you offending your political connects right now.
5300 Block and Gist Avenue. We played a lot of Uno on my porch.
Yeah.
The weather wasn't right. When we couldn't have company in the house, wasn't riding out bikes and stuff like that. We definitely played a lot of Uno. And then it went from playing it to playing for money and that kind of thing. So I just always played it. I mean, I haven't been playing it as much as an adult.
Right.
I mean,
but
like you said,
that's a classic game for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Spades is still up there. Spades is definitely up there.
Do you have to, if you are black, do you lose your black card?
Yeah.
I told somebody
Uno's right there too with it. I feel like we kind of taking Uno almost. But Spades definitely. If you come to my house, dominoes or Spades, and you don't know how to play them, you might as well get your plate and get the fuck out.
Yeah, straight. You don't know how to play bones?
I don't play bones.
Yeah, and really, me saying dominoes kind of took some credit. It's really bones, but I'm far from the West Coast. He played bones. So. Right. But I got Spades, so.
Well, Marvin get a pass just because he is the epitome of black in like so many different ways that he can get a pass on.
So he's still strong as black.
Yeah,
he don't got it. He can't afford it. I can't afford it.
No, I can't either.
You can't be like that with girl here and now play Spades. Like, you must be for left over culture. What you mean? You're not like Spades.
I told somebody that. You lost your black card.
That's funny.
I play Spades, but you know everybody don't play cards. But if you do play cards and don't know how to play Spades, I don't get that.
Real quick before we go to the next topic, a white buddy of mine, Jesse from AMT, who came on the show. He's a kickboxing coach, right? And he put a status up saying rules as a white person when you go to black activities. And he said always take a plate because if you don't take a plate, it's offensive. Just take it if you ain't going to eat, right?
Yeah.
And he said, always take a small plate because they're going to ask you to take a second plate before you take the plate to go home. He said, always eat small first. They're going to say, that's all you eat?
Yeah.
And he said, even if you don't know how to play spades, never say you don't know how to. Just say you ain't good. Because most black people are like, you're going to be in my team cutting books. Right? So just say you're not good. Don't say you can't play. It's for the white boy.
That's true as fuck.
Because
nobody going to want to play with him anyway if he ain't good.
Right. Playing Spades. I
don't like count books.
Yeah, I don't do that part. I know how many books I might have.
Right.
But as far as like, keeping scores and all that, like I never. I always left that up with my cards.
I think it might be Spades. I think we just kind of all agree that Spades
got to be number one.
But I literally.
Uno, we'll give you Uno at number 2.
Spades got it.
Spades is 1.
That's the consensus. Spades.
Yeah. And you should put hide and freak on there.
Hide and seek is 3.
You should put hide and freak. You fucked up.
Go to the next question.
Next question.
Twister.
All right, well,
Twister's at the end, yo.
Yeah, Twister's
good.
Yeah, we'll go to your next question.
Right. Yeah, we can play.
All right, so rank these games from best to worst. Kings, Hide and Go Freak.
There we go.
Truth or Dare.
Ooh.
Strip Poker.
Strip Poker.
Hang out at the let out.
What's that?
That's a game, yo, where you let everybody go to the club and you pull up and you pull up at the end and you wait for them to come out. Really?
Well,
I don't know that's the term, but that's what it is right this second, yo.
All right, I got
you know what I'm saying? You never done that before?
Yeah.
You never done that before?
No, I don't know about the
Bro, nigga, you could lose, can't you?
Yeah, you can.
Can you win? Can you win?
You can't win. You can't win.
Yeah, there you go. That's a game for me. My man.
But it's not fair. All right, so look, how tall are you, bro? 6 something, right? I ain't 6 something. So he already got an advantage. Most board games, we all kind of equal coming to it. And it's the luck of the draw.
You funny, yo.
He already, it's funny, cool, but he tall with curly hair. I knew what it's like to have curly hair.
Yo, but he's soft spoken, yo. You gonna be the one behind him, like, hey, bro, what the fuck? Yeah, and then they gonna come and you ain't gonna see him.
The wingman always gets the best player.
Who the girls go for?
Nigga, I used to always play wingman, yo. I'll take the one you don't really want.
Hide and free. Truth or Dare, yo, strong.
Truth or Dare got it.
Truth or Dare strong. Strip poker I don't like because if you're not in a certain shape, it don't work out for you. As the game progresses, you have to be winning, as in you have the most clothes.
You said Mike Tucker gonna win and Truth or Dare. Marvin gonna win and Truth or Dare.
Truth or Dare. That's kind of.
This nigga Marvin gonna try to start off with his shirt off and shit.
I still say high and freak, yo.
No, high and freak is not bad. First of all, Kings.
For me,
Kings.
I play Kings. What's Kings?
You play Kings, right?
What's Kings?
You have
my hitter. I don't know. What's Kings?
You got a deck of cards. You got like a drink in the middle of the table, right?
Don't say that you pick up.
No. So you stick the cards in the drink, and then you go to the cards. Each card means something. The person has to act this out. Like Truth or Dare is one of them in Kings, and then another one it might be like Never Have I Ever, and then another one's like
then Kings what? You talking about you
got
get
all of that
you
shit.
love? What Kings is?
And you getting drunk in the it might be take a shot. Might be. Hold on, whoa! What games are we talking about right now?
No,
I think all these games are going to the same time. Right?
Kings is that?
Kings is definitely
I like that.
Yo, and Never Have I Ever. That's a really good one too.
That's a
though.
game. And then
That's
you're
where
like,
you really see who the freak is.
Yeah.
Like, Never Have I Ever. Take it.
Yeah, but you can't play with your significant other next to you. My wife ain't.
Hold on, we are all married, yo. Are we pretending right now? We gotta pretend we gotta pretend we all single in this moment.
So yeah, for certain games.
Because we can't play any of these games right now.
Yeah, we can't.
You can play. What was that on there? Yeah, no, high and freak. No, I can play Truth or
You
Dare.
go high and freak with your wife?
I can play Truth or Dare with y'all.
Yo, being single. Well, he's single right now. For just this conversation, which one of those is the best game?
Probably Kings. What you talking from Kings?
Kings is
As a
dope.
single man, I'm not single, but I'm saying if I was that, I would say strip poker.
Strip poker's good.
Strip poker.
Strip poker's good because it's fun.
I gotta go after
and
the gym. I get my
overtime.
pump on, yo.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to take over clothes. Somebody's gonna be.
Marv, we already know you want to play strip poker.
Marvin.
Shut up.
I don't even know how to really play.
It don't matter. You got an 18 pack.
Nigga be under the table trying to keep himself at a medium swole the whole time and losing the whole time.
Doing push-ups.
I'm gonna lose, and they gonna tell me pull these titties out. I'm gonna get my shit smooth.
I think my classic. I mean, King is if it's gonna give you all the games you play,
Yeah, it's got all of it.
Get that kind of aspect of
Right,
it.
well, if Kane's got strip
Yeah,
poker,
King
then I can
definitely got that.
And it got alcohol built there.
Right, and it's got alcohol.
It's
built
built.
in.
It's a requirement of the game.
It's a requirement. Yeah, you got your shots when you everything.
Kings got it.
If I didn't know what Kings was and I had to pick from the other ones, I'm going Truth or Dare.
Truth or Dare, it's a classic.
Truth or Dare.
But Kings got Truth or Dare in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's easy.
That's probably your shit.
All right, so this question,
I've never seen
this is gonna go a little bit on the serious side.
Now you're gonna be mad you
So,
don't play in your whole
When
life.
people stay after being cheated on, is it because of love or comfort?
Bro, I know the real answer to that, yo. Nigga, it's inevitable. It's inevitable that somebody, your parents, your people you dating gonna do some shit you don't like. Come on, yo. Cheating is just one of 100 different things that
So
could
why do they
possibly
stay
happen.
afterwards then?
Why you stay after somebody neglects you? Why you stay after somebody don't fuck you for 2 weeks? Why you stay after your girl, you've been with her for 3 years, she's still cooking the same bullshit meals over and over again. You hate that shit. Yeah, what you gonna do? You gonna go to the next person and the same shit? You know what I mean? Or some different shit? You hate that shit that they do? It's a game of like, what you basing the best case scenario over what you're doing right now, over the best case scenario if you leave. Best case scenario, you leave your wife if she cheats on you, or your girl if she cheats on you, or she leave you if you cheat on her, and she go get with another nigga like him.
So it's
and
not love.
he hanging out at the let out, and he gonna cheat on her anyway.
So it's not love. It can't be love.
It could be love.
But that's the thing, though. Would you really consider it love? Because love is knowing that you love yourself more than you love the next person too, as well.
Why
Right?
is that love, yo?
So-
You love yourself, you fuck yourself over all the
identify
time.
with that. So
What'd you say? Ken?
I
Is
mean,
it love or
I
comfort?
think it depends on the type of relationship you in. Like if you in a if
The
you're
kind of
married,
relationship-
I would think it's going to take more to break that union up than it would be like a committed relationship without that actual union.
Right. Because it took
But
love to even get to that unit. I guess.
Right, but at the same time, like let's be real, like people may feel like they in that same union for the comfort of it. Like not everybody going to those situations for the same reason. So
I think
you in an ideal situation, and yeah, it's gonna be about love. And back to what Marvin was saying, you're supposed to love yourself first. You're supposed to have that. You're supposed to self-identify with like, yo, this is how I would want to be treated. So if somebody was to treat me not according to that, then obviously I don't want. They're not giving me the love that I need. So like, no, you.
All right, you keep the question.
to the
I'm
next.
passing this to you. You love yourself, right? How many times you do shit for yourself that you shouldn't do? You know what I'm saying?
Like,
fuck
what?
that girl that you shouldn't have did, and you wake up and you're like, yo, what the fuck? Why is she still here?
Or
You know what I'm saying? Or blow your money on some dumbass shit. You mad now? You know what I mean? Or drink way too much, now you can't function for a day and a half. Like, we do that to
we all
ourselves.
work in progresses, so at the same time, it's like you take from that and you're supposed to learn from that. So if you make a habit out of that, then you probably don't love yourself like how you think you love yourself.
And that's what I'm saying. That's
So-
why I'm saying it's
So-
not even
so
about.
maybe-
It's not
so
even
maybe
about. It's not
somebody-
even about the
so-
person.
So maybe that person would stay for comfort if they don't recognize, like, oh, I'm in this relationship because I really do care about this person. So
Well,
they
no,
might say, oh, comfort, like, I like certain things that person brings to the table. Like, I don't know, I can speak
you
for
give
myself.
yourself a margin for error, though, right? Don't you give yourself a margin for error?
Yeah,
Like, you want guns and you want abs and shit, but you know,
He was
it's
talking
hard.
about all biceps guns. He wasn't saying you probably. I want guns too, but he was talking about these.
Yeah.
I got when he said it. We followed it up with the
Hey,
bicep.
right. I ain't got just in case you like this guns in there. I think it is comfort. I think because I think it's comfort, man. A lot of times in relationship you just want to have something to fall back to, especially for females. I think it's comfort, financial comfort, knowing they can be taken care of, knowing a lot of times for guys, we're so eager. I don't know if that's part of our just genetic code to get out there and see what the next best thing is. And a lot of times when you hear from women, it's like, listen, I'm cool with having this one partner. I'm cool with, or I'm comfortable with having these, knowing that I have these set of finances to help me take on this bigger goal of rent or whatever it might be. So I don't think love is, because love, we say we love ourselves, and a lot of times we go in the opposite interests of our own selves, right?
Are you trying to say you don't think women cheat as much as we do?
No. I think out of the two choices, I think
We just get caught.
Do you think women cheat as much as that we do?
I would say I don't know. I don't have any data on that. I think
I
they're
got-
better
Do
at
you
it. I think they're better at it.
Definitely better at
Do
it.
you think that? Do you think that
I
they
think about
cheat as
50.
much as we do?
I think they cheat differently. So they might not be in somebody's DMs all the time, but they might have that fake work boyfriend that they divulge too much personal information with.
Maybe not in
Like
the same
they
chick.
have
I think they
like
might go
coffee.
mentally first.
Yeah,
and be
mentally
more
and
closer with
emotionally.
the
Yo,
emotions.
y'all,
Is that
y'all
cheating?
crazy.
No,
Yo.
that's
No, y'all.
I'm just saying, like, if they cheat,
I-
they might not looking at. They might not be looking at it from the standpoint of, like, I'm just trying to
You
have
think-
sex. They might be looking at it like, oh, this is gonna be like my new bae or whatever.
Let me flip
a
this
new
question.
relationship.
You ever fuck with a chick that had a dude?
Not knowingly.
That's okay. I'm gonna say the same thing. My girl watching.
You have never,
So you been fucking these
you've
niggas?
never
I'm
messed
just
with in
saying,
your
like-
whole life. Y'all three, y'all never messed with a girl who had a boyfriend. And
only
only thing
much-
she's getting out of the situation from you is sex.
when I was 23 or younger, if she ain't
My younger
if he
years-
ain't fucking her right, that ain't my fault.
That's what I'm
My
saying.
younger years, yeah, but I was always in a situation. I always found situations that presented themselves where they didn't share that, they didn't divulge that kind of information.
And in those situations, the girls was just doing you for, they was just
I
dealing with
actually
you for
found-
sex. They weren't
I
dealing with
actually
you for
found out
mental.
about something like that after the fact. Like,
Oh, I got it.
yeah,
But
like,
she was just using you for sex.
yeah.
There we go. There we go.
So
I think they do it, yo. I think
but
they do
they-
just as much as we do.
Oh yeah, they
I think
do.
so, yeah.
I'm not knocking that at all.
Yeah, I'm not gonna-
I'm definitely gonna.
I don't know if they do it at the same rate, but yeah, you got a point there.
They more like targeted in their approach. We are less targeted, but probably do it the same amount.
Mm-hmm.
Next topic.
That's a scary topic, right?
All right. So, under what circumstances do you date? Well, since we all guys here, under what circumstances do you date a chick that has more than 5 kids?
None.
You from Park Heights? Tell us how it work on that side of town.
No circumstances.
No circumstance. All right, what if you hurting? What if you not?
She got the independence card.
What if you homeless?
Did you say over 5 kids?
All right.
Like,
5 kids or more.
I got a chick number before, and I found out after the fact that she had 3 kids. And at this particular time in my life, I was just looking at, like, I'm just trying to have fun, so it didn't have no effect on me. I'm like, cool, like,
It did have, I bet it had a little effect.
It
on you.
didn't have no effect in the sense that I wasn't going to still try to pursue her.
Well, you know how fertile she is, so you may have like.
This was like my
pull-up
young years.
game
So,
was
oh
good
yeah,
last time.
Pull-up game got to be on 110. You got to be Ray Allen with the shit every time.
What if y'all both successful? Oh, this is the one time I think I wouldn't mind. If let's say I'm 40. I'm like successful, whatever. Lawyer, doctor, business heir, whatever, right? And she is also not a liability to me financially.
Yeah.
Her husband still takes care of his kids. He's not, a lot of times we think of 5 women, a woman with 5 kids, think about deadbeat dude and jail. They got everything covered. Maybe they even already been raised. All motherfuckers 10 or older. So it's no liability on me emotionally. I got to take care of them. I got to teach nothing. They just a part of the plan. That's the only time
I like that. That's a good
I could
point.
probably be cool
That's
with
a
it.
good
But
point.
if I'm me now and I'm trying to do what I'm doing and this girl's coming to me saying, not only do I have nothing to offer, you have to help in exchange for what we have here, take care of these kids, then I'm not cool with it. So I'm okay with it if the circumstances are
she's got to be completely good with the 5 on her own. And then you can come in
Give
as
me
an
a
asset
choice to be
the-
a part of this. Don't make it like, oh, you want to date me? Like Kanye said. I don't know what lyric he said. It was like, well, if you got to date me, you got to take the kids out too. Like, no, hold on. What was going on before me? I liked you. You ain't had them in the profile photo.
Yeah.
You didn't say click here if you want to meet my kid. It's you.
Let me ask another question. What do you know about a chick if you find out that she got 5 kids?
She enjoys sex.
She got good pussy.
Not necessarily, no.
We always on the same page, yo.
No, some dudes.
Hold on, what? Hold on, what? 5, yo? If she's got 2, if she's got 2, it could be that. But if she got 5,
If
bro,
she's got 5, bro, she's gotta have good pussy.
Bro,
we nut in our hand.
bro, 5.
No,
But yo,
you nut
literally,
in
hold on. Let's realistically speaking.
They don't know
Yo,
about playing
if
B.
it's the third, fourth, and especially if
5,
and especially if she got 5. All right, now this is different. If 5 kids, regardless, it doesn't matter if she has all 1 baby daddy, 2 baby daddy, or 3, or all 5 kids.
Yeah.
She has good pussy,
Yes,
bro.
bro. 5.
Because there's no way you know that. First of all, if you on your third one, with her, then you know that
Her shit is amazing, yo.
Second of all,
If she got 5, yo, it's amazing.
Bro, I done seen some 5 kids. That's amazing.
Yo, hold on. Maybe
I'll take average.
Maybe they don't look that good. Maybe you don't think that. But I'm talking about if you close your eyes and just let her do whatever she's gonna do to you. Nigga, you gonna be in a place you ain't been before with a girl with 1 and 2 kids.
No disrespect to my wife. My average pussy I get upstairs. I don't need good. If good come with 5 kids, keep good.
Y'all crazy.
I'll take okay. I'm okay. I'm an okay ass nigga. I probably got some okay dick, yo. I'll take some okay pussy.
Yo, if you had 5 kids, girls might say differently
I'm
about
just
you, yo.
saying, if she got 5 kids, bro, ain't no way she don't have, because no bruh is gonna stay in there and
At all,
realize
yo.
so you already pretty much already got the other kids. So if you first of all you can put on child support, bro. You just dumb as fuck,
Bro,
All that shit. Everything.
I've done the wrong thing when it came to sex.
Yeah.
And it was nothing to do with the quality of her genitals. It was because I was either toe up, I was drunk, or I just wanted to get my nut off. And
Well, then
I think that's what
Yeah, but you don't have kids out of it. You don't have kids out of it. For you to be guy
called
number
plan
4,
B.
for you to be baby daddy number 4,
You got to already be.
you have to. It has to have been that good. Where you're like in your head, I can't fucking do it in this show. I got fucking.
She's already got 3 kids.
She already got 3
Where
kids.
does it play into how many kids you might already have? Like, how does that
Okay.
play?
All right. So I guess maybe 1 to 1, it would
So if you got, let's say you
equal
got
out.
3 kids yourself, does that play a factor?
If you got 3 kids and she got 4 kids, then technically she's got 1 kid because the other 3 they cancel each other out.
Yo, if this let me go to the next topic. This time become single again. You know how you like look for a house in the bedroom. He's looking for like 5 kids and above and shit. He just wanted the good pussy. Looking for 5 kids. Yo, you keep that. I got a couple cousins you can holler at.
I'm not talking about. We're not gonna speak back the fact that he rationed it out. Like, all right, so if I got 2 kids, she got 3 kids. She only got 1.
Nigga, the Brady Bunch was a good show.
Listen, to be so successful, he be saying the wildest shit.
I be thinking, yo. That's all.
Well, at least you're trying to think with the other side.
Yeah, a little bit.
Next time.
That's the Kobe versus the Jordan conversation.
All right, so you can have a threesome.
Side of the back.
But
Good one, bro. You gonna like this one? I think you're gonna like this one.
I already.
This was yours.
Yeah, I wrote this.
You can have a threesome, but the ages of the 2 women have to be at least 110 years old together.
110.
Yeah, together. They gotta be. The ages had to be 110 together.
Oh, that's doable.
Who are
That's
you
doable.
choosing?
I go first. Oh, you want to go first?
Oh, and we got.
Yeah, no, listen.
I already got
Angela
mine.
Bassett.
Angela Bassett was on. She's 56.
something.
She's 56.
Bong. Now, Halle Berry's what?
She gotta be up there. She's up there.
Yeah,
She's
who in the 50s? Give me another baddie in the 50s.
No,
Isn't
J-Lo's
Nicole
49.
Murphy?
J-Lo 49.
Oh,
Nicole
I
Murphy's like
Nicole
54.
Murphy.
She's like 54.
They both gotta be 55. They gotta be 55.
Well, they don't have to both be 55. If one is 49, the other one gotta be 61.
So Angela Bassett and
What about Sade?
Sade, she gotta be 50. She gotta be 59. She
Yeah, but
my daddy's 60.
But what does Sade look like right now? Do we
Bad.
know?
I seen that she just released some new music about a year ago.
All right, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Sade, she can sing. Angela
You can't
Bassett-
take his, yo. Stop, yo. What are you doing?
All right, you're right. All right, so look.
I mean, that was a good.
So who your second one then? You can't pick Angela Bassett. Yeah, you was going for Angela.
Shit.
Who
You
else?
wanna know mine?
Go.
Salma Hayek.
She all right.
She's like 54.
Okay.
And
Don't pick
and
Angela
Michelle Pfeiffer. She's 56.
Michelle Pfeiffer, bro.
Michelle Pfeiffer. No, Michelle Pfeiffer's
I
mean,
don't
bro.
know. I need to Google for her. I ain't seen her in a minute.
Yeah. Michelle
You talking
Pfeiffer
about
mean, yo.
Scarface, Michelle Pfeiffer?
I'm talking about Michelle
Right,
Pfeiffer. Yo, you don't think she
I don't
mean,
know
yo?
if Pfeiffer's still Pfeiffer now.
Look her up, yo.
Might-
She mean.
I don't know if I'm gonna look her
And
up.
again,
I'm taking Kris Jenner. Say no.
Whoa, you said it on air.
actually, you thinking, yo. Yo,
How is he
that's a
thinking?
good one. Kris Jenner, yo.
That's a man, ain't it?
No, that's
That's
the dude, yo.
Oh, okay.
You think about
Who the dude? Who the
Caitlyn,
dude?
Caitlyn Jenner.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I
No,
thought
Kris Jenner is the mother.
You didn't say that? I said, oh, what is he saying?
Kris Jenner's the
Yeah,
mother,
that's
bro.
the mother.
And
I
first of all,
thought you did fun. Okay.
And she got
and
one
he gonna be
five-
around. And he gonna be around all of them.
Oh, you know what? That's the who y'all one?
No, and she got 5 kids, like you said.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all right. Real quick,
boom.
that's you.
Nailed
said
it.
You won.
Nailed it.
Who's that one?
You won this podcast.
No,
who's the other
MVP of the
podcast?
podcast, yo.
Kris Jenner, who?
Kris Jenner and
You just said it.
Well, how old is Janet?
Janet
Janet 50.
like 60. She gotta be 60. She gotta be like 60, bro.
Yeah.
Hold on, no, you said he
Janet-
won it. Who else did he pick? Chris and
He's
who?
the MVP of this whole podcast.
You said Chris and who else? Who's a yeah two?
What's your second? What's your second?
He ain't have one. So why you definitely didn't have a second one?
Nigga, he
That's
just
the fucking
put
matter.
the
What
last
do you
two.
do?
He put the
You gotta
last
be 110 years old.
Yeah,
I
you gotta
know,
be.
that's
Who's your
what I'm
second?
She
one?
ain't 110.
She's like
I
55.
know.
She's like 50. Let's give her 55.
55. Okay.
So you got some years to make up, pimp.
That's fine.
So take that debt back right now. I'll take it for him.
All I gotta do is go for like what 49 or some shit.
No,
You need at least 55 older. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Hold on, I was going to say Nicole Murphy. Isn't Nicole Murphy?
Nicole Murphy gotta be up there.
Oh
She
my
close.
God.
She
Let me
close.
get that back to you.
Yeah, I already said
Nicole
Murphy.
If
You
you
two
got a
debts in a
threesome with
row.
Nicole Murphy and
Nicole
Kris Jenner,
bad.
first of all, you
She
know
got
Kris
me
Jenner.
80.
Kris Jenner got 5 kids, so she nasty, bro.
Keep that Kris Jenner shit. Nicole Murphy.
And she's a fucking billionaire. So
Nicole Murphy's the bad
Nicole
one.
Murphy and-
Nicole Murphy's the bad one that you spend the most time on, but Kris Jenner probably spend way time on you.
Yeah.
That's what we saying.
And if her daughter can suck dick, she might suck that. Okay, next
we
topic.
know she's a
Next topic, who's yours?
I said, Bassett. Y'all took all the other good milfs. Grills.
Oh, so you a fucking vibe? Yeah,
All right, help me out. All right,
you put me
Bassett
on the
and,
spot, I only pick one.
Bassett
And you
and,
never picked the second one. Did you go first?
I got one. Bassett and In Shape Oprah.
In shape over.
Now I ain't talking about it, but you know every now and then she been Oprah magazine the waist snatch.
Right now.
Oprah thick, yo.
Right now.
We talking
Is
about.
she in shape now?
Oh, you got it, yo.
I ain't seen the new issue of Oh. I don't know the new issue. I go to the market, I see the new issue of I think she doing
Yeah,
good.
you can't say it in shape over. Yo.
I take Oprah thick. Oprah thick because as I'm smashing, I'm like, boy, please let me get her pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
Billionaire?
Yo, Gayle King is famous.
And even if I don't get her pregnant, we ain't smashing no
Oprah and
no
Gayle?
motel. We're
That's
gonna be
it,
somewhere and
Oprah.
she gonna own the whole thing. So I got Oprah. Y'all niggas some suckers.
And you
I
got
got
Gayle.
Oprah and Angela Bassett. 2 black women, 2 both doing their thing, and I'll get tired with
Yeah, don't neither one of them want you to fucking.
Yo, what's funny is
Neither one of them want you to like mush their head in the pillow or anything. You gotta be all
No,
fucking.
this is what I'm saying. Oprah do want that.
You
How
think
old is
so?
Naomi Campbell?
Damn, she's probably 60, bro.
That is a good
And she's still
one.
bad too.
That's
She's
a
bad,
good
she's bad.
one.
So you got Naomi and who was y'all one?
Oh shit,
I
his
said
is
Janet and Sade.
That's bad.
No,
too.
Charlotte, it's gotta be Charlotte number. Get Janet out of here, yo. Janet titties hang to the left and the right, yo.
Man, that's Janet. Though.
Come on, fam. That's what's supposed to happen.
That's-
when you get older.
Have you ever seen Janet's what was that song, yo? The video.
How old is,
wanna tell you. Man,
how old
fuck
is
that
Nia
Janet.
Long?
Neil
Long,
Long.
my good. She almost in the 50s. So I think Nia.
I think she's like, I think she's in her high 40s. She's close to.
No, Nia Long's probably 50. She got to be
Nah,
50.
she
yo.
ain't 50.
She got to be
What
50.
age
I
Ice
Soul
Cube?
Food, she was almost like 30.
We'll look it up afterwards, yo. We got to fact check ourselves afterwards, yo.
All right,
next
next
time.
fact check. All right.
All solid choices now.
Except Michelle Pfeiffer, huh?
Michelle Pfeiffer, you fucked up, dog. It's no way.
Michelle Pfeiffer's good, yo.
Yeah,
Michelle
alright.
Pfeiffer's
Hey, look,
good, yo.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Hey, that was like a 30-year-old movie, man.
First of all, what you think Michelle Pfeiffer would do to you, yo? That's the
She was
question.
like the original Batman, right?
Yeah.
She's from Baltimore too, yo. Matter of fact.
And she was in Scarface.
Oh, in the movie she's from
Oh,
Baltimore.
she referenced Baltimore. and
Yeah, I'm
Scarface.
bugging. I pulled
Yeah.
that. She almost from Baltimore.
That's true.
Crazy.
In the movie she's from Baltimore. No, dog, you lost. Denzel lost. All right, we all won. Except
Who
for
won?
Denzel.
No, we
Michelle
can't all
Pfeiffer's
win.
a loss, man.
Nigga, he won.
Except for you.
He won that round, but he won the whole podcast.
Oh, we about to start passing
We
out
should
the
do that.
awards.
We should do MVP award.
Hey,
Yeah.
look, we should do it. Hey, look, I'm gonna do a poll on that. Or one of us gonna do a poll on that. We should do a podcast MVP award.
Yeah, week to week, yo.
That'd
Game
be
ball.
dope. That'd be real dope. All right, so this next question. How much time are we looking at?
Oh, yes. This is the last question.
Last question.
Is it
All
the
right.
last question?
We get.
Well, we can speak.
How much time is it?
We got 5 minutes if we want rapid fire.
Let's do some rap.
Okay.
Bust it out in there.
All right, so rapid fire. All right, so would it be beneficial for everyone to have guns or everyone not have a gun?
We doing some amendment talk.
Everybody should have a gun.
Constitutional talk.
Everybody have a gun, yo. You know why? It's better to be strong and respected than to be than to everybody realize that you weak and that's the reason why you ain't willing to do nothing. I rather respect that you can shoot me before I shoot you than for me to not fuck with you because I feel like I can't do nothing.
And on one hand, I see what you're saying. Like if everybody had guns, then it probably make a person think twice. Be like, oh, he got a gun, so I maybe wouldn't pull that kind of move.
Each other, yo.
But if the other option was nobody had guns, then I go ahead and go with that because that'll eliminate a lot of
How about this
stuff.
And
that'll
I'm
take us
passing
back
right back to you, yo.
to
Let's say I could fight. I'm UFC Conor McGregor, right? And I'm just running around beating niggas up. You know what I'm saying?
We ain't
You
saying
can't-
you ain't have any weapons.
You can't defend
We ain't
yourself
saying you
against
ain't-
me, yo. You
No,
go. I'm
you probably get banked or something.
Yeah. Oh, came out real quick. This was a one-on-one.
If you a bully and you got all that jujitsu,
Hey, real quick,
MMA
though,
shit going on,
it's some
then,
actual
that's
data
probably
for
gonna
this.
come.
Is it, Dave?
I don't remember it, but if you guys, it's in Switzerland. It's a country that has like no guns, and then you look at like certain states in America. I want to say like Arizona or Texas, where you got open, unconcealed. And I don't know the data, so if me saying doesn't mean it, but I think it does. Like in places where the chances of grandma having a Glock and that drug dealer, it is low crime rate. Yeah. But I don't know who's lower between that and this other case study I read where it was like everybody, no one had guns, and the rate of violence was real low. So
How about this? And then,
But that's like in the vacuum where you looking at it like guns still exist. You know what I'm saying?
Let's take
it's a place where they have like where you can't have any guns. I forgot the name of it. CNN, Don Lemon.
Let's say
looking at it
his
from
society got no guns. My society got guns. Y'all living happy as fuck until I walk across y'all territory.
But our
all of
society,
a sudden
we
now-
are somewhere totally different. You can't get to us. Like the gun ain't gonna be able to get to us.
Where's that?
The no gun bill.
I don't know where that is. It's like a gun out that bitch, nigga. You don't know, you can't see
That's
it. None
funny
of that
as
shit. It look like
All right, as long as
vibranium,
nobody with
man.
guns can get anywhere near your society, then maybe.
No, I mean, are
yo.
you saying this question in the sense that guns still exist, but this little bubble of society don't have guns? Because in that case, I'd change.
I'm saying,
Whoa.
So
That's you stumbling on some good shit.
No, because
When guns didn't exist, it wasn't better.
It wasn't better.
It was worse.
No, I
you
wouldn't say
had-
worse.
When
still
niggas had swords running around just
still
swording
had
each other up.
swords and
Sword each
armor.
other.
That's when
But
you had more of a value on precious metals and stuff like that.
Yeah, but back
People
then, bro,
had more value on copper.
people was raping
gold,
and pillaging back then. Who's raping and pillaging now? Not often.
Shit, it's probably more than we probably.
So
more than
take
we
the-
know, but
The mentality
You
of the
should be
people
moving
from
it.
this society and just remove the guns out of this society.
How you know we're
that's
gonna
how I was
degenerate
looking.
back into like strongest? The fucking strongest survives.
I mean, you can go either way with
Well,
it.
I mean,
Really.
yeah, you can't. It kind of depends.
Because
Because it was
back
just
to what you was-
depends on your perspective. Because I understand what you were saying. Because, yo, if I know that you could be carrying a gun,
Not fucking with me, yo.
We're
That's
also
we're not gonna-
equalizers. Like you could be 5'5",
Yeah, exactly.
It equalizes the
Exactly.
and
playing
I'll
field.
put out
Exactly.
somebody at 6'8".
Yeah, exactly.
But
Like,
don't
bro,
you
you're
kinda
not gonna run
almost
up
live
on
in
me.
that kind of society right now.
Exactly.
It might not be licensed guns that people have, but for the most part, I ain't gonna say everybody strapped up or whatever, but
Niggas strapped up.
yeah.
Yeah,
people
but I mean, you
gonna
gotta
have
think
but
about
you
it, though.
still got
You still-
a lot of killing and violence and shit like that.
That is true. But
Yeah,
this is
but
the thing, though.
historically less than when we didn't have that.
See, we don't
I
got
would-
to
I wouldn't
it's
say-
actually
we have
data.
zero
It's
data.
It's some
We
hard.
have
It's some hard data out that I hear all the.
I feel like
I
back
just
then
don't know.
when they didn't have guns, like it had to be a real reason for you to want to come and test me because this is some real combat shit you're talking about. So it was like I like literally like you
Wait, one
know.
water.
I'm gonna need something.
I think
Second.
I
Must be
my
right.
bottle.
I'm good right now. I'm gonna finish this.
Let's not forget, you can still have it on you. Shit can still go down for real. So it's not like
Yeah,
back to
completely.
what you were
You
saying.
But
feel
I
more
think
comfortable
this-
if you don't have it on you?
Nah, in this society,
No, I said no. I'm strapped, but no, I'm just saying it's choose one society or the other. That's how it was. That's
I
how the
always
concept
try
was.
to
It
have
wasn't
the
like
mindset that if I
just
need,
this area.
if I need to be strapped to be somewhere, I probably shouldn't be there in the first place. That's how I look at it.
That
That
is
don't mean
true.
I'm not going to, but it like
it means that you
That
makes
you
sense.
feel
That
more
makes sense.
comfortable.
if
You know what I mean?
you really
feel
feel like you need it, that it's a good chance that you probably shouldn't be there. Unless
that's
it pertains to something you're doing to further your career and whatever you're doing for real.
This supposed to be a rapid.
That makes sense. That makes sense. All right, next one.
All right, next one. Create a new invention on the spot. I already got mine.
Invisible
Bluetooth
condoms.
headphones. No.
Boy, you have Bluetooth headphones to connect to dumb as hell. Bluetooth headphones to connect to the TV. So for instance, so if you upstairs, right, and That's not a new invention.
It is new to us. I ain't know they had that.
those to the TV.
Please.
Yes,
you connect your headphones to the TV.
yes, they got smart TV. You joking? Right?
You can connect your
I
headphones
really
to it?
didn't know that.
Oh, buddy, yeah.
No, sir, so you
Oh,
can connect your headphones to it?
Yeah,
They connect to the TV.
Yes, of course. I have a pair. Bose has them. Beats has. I don't know if Beats have them. Yeah,
Prove
They
it.
connect to the TV.
bro. I have $15 headphones. If you have a smart TV that said you can hook up any Bluetooth device, yeah, you can have Bluetooth boom up the fucking speaker and play it off of it. Yeah,
Really?
I promise. Shit. No, listen. That's 2 for 2. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna do push-ups. Yeah, that's out there. Yeah, bro, that's out there.
Invisible condoms.
Now,
Defeat that one.
Now, I'm going to tell you something. This is kind of funny. About 10 years ago, me and my friends, we were trying to figure out, all right, boom, you know the spray you can put on your shoes, and you put ketchup on there, and the ketchup just melt off? So one day I was talking to Chris and them, and I was like, yo, what if we had a spray that was safe for your body, that you could spray in your dick, and it would keep from any kind of liquor getting inside of it or whatever, or, you know, like any kind of microscopic viral or getting it. That didn't work out, and I ain't have any science.
It's a terrible idea. Yeah.
Well, I didn't say Bluetooth headphones.
What's your fucking invention? What's your no? Fuck no.
Bluetooth headphones hook up to cars, man.
What is your invention?
Oh, I ain't had invention. I just took
Come
it
up with
out.
one. Come up with a better one than his.
I need some more time. Somebody else jump in there real quick. How
Kelvin.
about you, Kelvin? You go.
I'm gonna have to rethink mine because I
This
didn't know that
actually
shit was
might be
already.
already out for real.
Huh?
I said something like this might be out, but I had this idea a while ago, so maybe this I can still say if it's
Yeah,
somehow
it don't matter.
like a digital, like a portrait that you can post, like you can hang up, but it's like digital. So
All right, so check this out. Real
Look
quick,
at that
stop.
for like 30 years.
Let me tell you something. You know what's crazy? I was
I don't
going
have
to
one
Brookstone. I was going to Brookstone years ago, and I showed you how no idea is new under the sun. I thought of that same thing. A week fucking later, I went back in Brookstone. This one, Orange Mills was popping. You know, you go to the food court in Orange Mills, and you try to bag something. I remember that.
I remember that.
And Brookstone,
Go to the
and
fucking movie theater.
How I wanted to do it, I wanted to have it so you could record a 15-second vocal memory, like, this is us at our wedding. And then you can click through the portrait and be like, this is our, so you would have the visual representation. You have maybe like 50 photos you can hold into it.
And they say something?
And as you go to it, you can like record a sound with it.
That's good.
Brookstone had that shit. Now, mind you, that means if they had it on the shelf, they were doing that shit probably 2 years ago. They already had the plan out, they trademarked the boom, so yeah, that's all.
all right, so I'm gonna say another one since that one already exists.
Back boobs.
Back boobs.
No, I was gonna say a shakeable.
Don't say shake weight, please don't do that.
No, that's
Snow globe.
No, I'm still thinking along the lines of games.
All right.
So, shakeable dice on the app where you can shake it in an actual.
Oh, you mean like?
So I take my phone, shake it up,
I don't think I've seen that.
and it's almost like
Yo, come up with that
virtually
shit.
joins
and it'll be a virtual role on a game or whatever you're playing or whatever.
Damn. That's probably relatively
actually
easy to
really
make
dope.
too.
I don't think it's out there
Because
I
you can
probably
put like, they can put like one of them
Right
holographic things
right
on
now.
top of the phone.
Right. I don't know what the fuck you just said.
I get it. I get what you're saying.
I like
No, we
That's a
don't
good-
get
that's
it
a good
because
idea, yo.
it's never been done.
So
And we're not
so
going to
Nick-
repeat it.
so
Let's
Nick
erase
gonna-
that on the video.
I agree that. Yeah, we should
Let's-
erase
Nick gonna
that.
run with that.
Nigga, you're, but I'm jogging.
I don't work with
You better run because I'm jogging.
No, here's the thing. I don't work with the scarcity mindset. So if somebody come up with it,
There
I'll
we
find
go.
a way.
Say that word again.
The scarcity
Scarcity.
mindset. I'll find a way to utilize that and put it into something that
That's a good idea,
I'll
though.
make it work for what
That's
I
a
got.
really good
going
idea.
There's not
I was
a
like-
finite, limited amount of resources.
Yeah.
There's plenty out there.
All right.
This is just innovation.
Last topic, bro. That was a good idea, though.
Last topic. This ain't a good one for this.
All right, skip
For the
it.
last guy.
Yeah, put it back in there.
No, it's just not.
Basic.
Yeah, it's real basic.
That was basic too.
This is real basic.
All right,
man.
fuck it. You want to
All
end on
right,
that?
fuck it. No, we. What is the biggest downfall in the school system right now?
That's a good one. That's a great fucking question.
I mean, it's a great question.
He
I mean,
wanted to end it on
first.
some like rah shit.
Oh, well, you know.
But
Alright,
we
alright.
can't always
I'll
do
go
that
first.
shit.
Biggest downfall in the school system is that you learn a lot of stuff that isn't necessarily you can't take it to the real life. It's like we spend so much time learning things that you don't give a fuck about at the time, that eventually like you don't really fucking learn it. And then two, like what about learning about like the tax code a little bit? You know what I mean? Or like how to like utilize credit cards to your advantage. You know what I mean? How about the real life things that we need every day that
Right.
I had to learn on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they should
follow
teach
up
that
on
shit.
Yeah, I agree with that. So just to put it in like a general concept, like financial literacy, they don't teach enough of that in schools for real. So that was kind of like bringing it back in. That was part of the reason why I made the game in the first place. Business ownership, entrepreneurship. That was kind of like they starting to get around to that now, maybe in like some of the high level like colleges and stuff like that. But that's not a regular part of the curriculum for real. So I would say, and I think it's done by design.
Oh, of course. Oh,
Yeah,
just was
Yeah, they don't want to
If
teach
you
you
feel-
to
if
do
you- if they knew you could be empowered to work for yourself and go out and make your own money without having somebody over top you employed, then it would affect the economic system, the power system.
You also
man.
need good
Because-
workers too. You know what
Yeah,
I
you
mean?
definitely need good.
Like
I'm not
let's say
saying
let's say
anything
your
is
business
wrong
blows
with
up.
being a good
You need
worker.
100 good people to help make your business even better. And
See,
school
this
puts
is-
out those people
But
very
you know
well,
what?
Right.
very well.
If you really want to be
Public
successful,
school.
Yeah.
My
system,
thing
like,
is
'cause certain private schools actually do teach that type of stuff. Like
Okay.
from what I've been saying and from conversations I've had with people, like, oh, they teaching that at your school, at your daughter's school, like they learning about LLCs and
Damn.
corporations,
Yeah,
and
Who knew?
that's some real
they
shit.
actually
I didn't know.
Yeah,
Shit.
yeah.
What you got, Ma?
Oh, yeah. To a certain degree, it's piggybacking off of what they said, but I also think that the school system lacks in the ability to empower kids the way they should, because people learn differently. Kids, so on and so forth. But at the same token, giving more belief into our youth system. You know what I mean? Like people, like back in the day, right? When people literally, when you were 4 years old, 5 years old, you could be president of the world one day. By the time you get to 12, 13, that shit is falling off the wagon by the time it's still in the school system. You know what I'm saying? So when you turn 15, 16, your teachers are telling you, especially if you act up in class, you're going to grow up to not be anything. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Versus, pulling that kid.
Well,
to
no teacher never told me that. To
It's
be
like-
honest.
Well, I'm
just
just
to be
saying,
straight up,
I'm-
no teacher never told me that.
Well,
That you can't, that you'll
I
never be
understand.
shit.
But
You know,
at
so
the
I
same
don't know
token,
how
I
often
can't
teachers are
really
actually really
relate
saying
to
that.
that.
I'm just
But
following
I
up.
know it happens.
Yeah, it happens. But I'm just saying, in a hypothetical sense, that empowering the kids and empowering,
them to be more than what they can be, and literally, you know, telling them to follow their dreams, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And yeah, it does piggyback off of the whole economic thing, because like you said, they don't teach stuff, this real life, real world stuff. Like, they don't tell you, yo, if you don't go to college, bro, you're gonna have to get a job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you don't already have money saved up so that you can start your own business, then you're gonna have to get a job. And if you're gonna get a job, then either you're gonna have to work on trying to be the best at it so you can improve, or you're gonna have to save up your little bit of coin so then that way you can do your own thing.
That's a good point.
And here's the thing about what you just said, just to add something to it. You need a degree in most cases to get a decent job.
Yeah,
but you don't need a degree to start a business.
But even when you start a business, you need to be skilled at some shit, right?
Yeah. I mean, if it's
so a lot of businesses you start, you should be in a job setting to learn the ins and outs of that industry first. And they don't even teach you how to get to that point. My schools I've been to never taught me, like, all right, what's your goal in life? What do you want to do? Oh, you want to do this? This is kind of like the pathway to get there.
This is where you want
never
to
learned that
no,
shit.
They're not going to tell you that shit.
I guess y'all didn't have guidance counselors.
My guidance counselors taught us how to stay out of trouble.
Exactly.
Stop joking in class, Nick.
Yeah.
My guidance counselor was like, yo, you good at math and science. Why don't you do engineering? Like, that was as simple as it went.
Real quick.
But I'm not really...
Hey, you can stop talking for a second.
Oh, my bad.
He was very good at fucking math. We shared a trigonometry class.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah! I didn't know this nigga was smart. You smart. I'm going to tell you why. Because, like myself, you can fit in multiple groups. So you had a group. Kelvin, we know Kelvin, you hoop, you chill, fresh. But Kelvin was smart on the low, and I figured out when I had a class with him, and it's 2 black people in the class, in tree class, maybe 5. Let's say it was 5. Right. And the rest of them were Jan Sport, Jewish kids.
That's a shameless
and
plug.
Kelvin getting the top grade and not top 5 of all the grades, right?
You plugging yourself right now. You're like, I was in his tree.
No, hold on, sir.
Calvin happened to be
I was in because I had to get one more class to pass. And I barely passed that one. And I think it was like, look, get out of high school.
That's funny.
Kelvin was getting A's. I was getting whatever the opposite of A's is. We down. But I would say
I should look like hair combs.
I would say trades. I think trades are finding their way back into because a lot of times you may not have the smarts for book smarts. Yeah, but you from day one you were good with your hands, or you can learn, like you might have dyslexia or something, right? You can make 6 figures being a plumber. You can make 6 figures being an electrician. You can make 6 figures being an engineer, structural engineer, or maybe a carpenter or something like that. Maybe structural engineer relies more on math. So you can do that. Also, I think history, especially if you're talking about within this country and within our culture, we are so detached. If you're not African, so a lot of my African friends come over here with a structure of like, look, we haven't been separated from what our roots were. My dad was a doctor in Africa. He ain't played from day one. A lot of the other cultures like Jewish people or Asians, they come here with the same old world practices of like, no, we came here, it's a new world and it's melting pot, but we're going to do what made us successful back in our own country.
This is the American dream.
We came here, unfortunately, through a path of, no way to chop it up, slavery, right? Being indentured to someone else. So I think history, I was a part of a program of Upward Bound where they kind of let me know that, okay, number one, if your grandfather didn't do it or your grandfather's grandfather didn't do it, there were people before you that have done it. Or this is the ways you can do it, or this is why your culture isn't just what you see on Fox 5 or on CNN. And when you get that kind of like reinforcement of saying, okay, look, you ain't got to be this way or that way. Right? This is someone after the fact. You come from good stock. So I would say history. I think history definitely changed my mindset of not just looking at the dope boy in the corner or my grandfather who was a steel worker, but like, oh no, just like they like to say Nobel Prize winners with predominantly Jewish people, and how they like to say Japanese people are really great at math. Some of the greatest kings or financially successful were Africans. Were Africans. So that, and then also you don't have to go to college. You can graduate high school. You don't even got to graduate high school, man. Matter of fact, if you still want to be corporate and not graduate high school, you could be a programmer. You can start at the age of 8th grade, and by the time you're in high school, maybe not, you make 50K. I got a buddy in mine right now who's 19 making 50K. 50K programming. He didn't graduate high school into that. So I think just the avenues of success should be, it's not just go to school, get a degree, get another degree on top of that degree. And then don't worry about the debt you got to pay back. Because they don't tell you that part and the interest that goes on top of it. How many people we know that nurses,
the fucking check, you making 70, 80,000, but then you gotta take away $2,000 or $1,000 a month or whatever it might be to pay off something versus a trade where the upfront cost doesn't cost as much of you paying it back, and then you'll reap much more reward. So history and maybe get back to trades.
Yeah.
Damn, guys.
I really like that answer.
This was
That's
not
what
safe for ears, and then we just fucking
We just murdered it.
murdered it.
Man, thank you so much, Kelvin Johnson, CEO of For the Culture Games.
Thank y'all for having me.
We appreciate you coming on. We're gonna have you on again. I think we should have people like him on at least once a year. At least once a year. What do you think? What do you think?
I was thinking we should like have a setup where we play the game in real time.
I would love that. What's the next game now?
I don't have a date for it, but hopefully before Thanksgiving or
Please
around that
invite us.
time. Around that time, we just had one 2 weeks ago. So.
Okay. Try to
Or if you don't mind us
No, I
playing
mean,
the game, we
I
get
would
the
just
game.
it don't have to be like a game
always-
night. I would just bring the game to you.
My friends,
They can go live
they
and
love
play.
they love to do that kind of shit, yo.
He got some dope ass friends too. Influential friends.
Yeah.
He got some dope.
Whatever that
influential
means, I don't know what that means.
You know what the hell it means. you know people. We all know people, so you know people. But yeah, maybe we do a live night. We just do it.
we should do it.
We got
We should
dope
do it.
ass house or anything.
We should do it.
Good set.
Right.
Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thanks again. Thanks again. Thanks
Close it
again.
out, Marvin.
Bring us out,
Look,
Marvin.
once again, shout out to the sponsor, withlove.bea. Man, fragrance scented, hand poured soy wax. Make sure y'all contact her. Thanks again, Calvin, coming on. Make sure you holler at us through the emails at notsafeforears@gmail.com. We on Instagram at notsafeforears. Download on Spotify, SoundCloud, and iTunes, baby. And shout out to everybody who's been downloading it across the world. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Real quick, what's your handle? Give me a handle. Any way they can reach you for. Rest of my opportunities are.
For the Culture Games, that's at FORCULTURE Games GAMES on Instagram. BusinessAir.fortheculturegames.com is the site. Look forward to look out for the next campaign to actually do the pre-sales for the game on Kickstarter. So
Let us know. We'll definitely
we'll
share.
definitely let you know.
All right. Thank y'all again for tuning in. Not safe ears. Bitch, we out.